The human brain is an extraordinary organ, and it's always working behind the scenes, influencing every aspect of our thoughts, actions, and emotions. The brain has a natural tendency to keep us safe, and it does this by constantly scanning the environment for potential threats. This is the evolutionary foundation of stress, anxiety, and fear. In primal times, this fight or flight response helped our ancestors survive dangerous situations, like predators or physical threats. Our brains were designed to react quickly and decisively to danger. However, in today's world, the environment we live in is vastly different. While we may no longer be running from wild animals or facing life-threatening situations daily, our brains are still wired to react the same way. Stress triggers such as deadlines, work pressure, relationship struggles, or public speaking all send the same signals to our brain as if we were facing actual life-threatening danger. This is why we can feel a surge of panic or anxiety even when we're dealing with relatively low-stakes challenges. The brain's default state is often what's referred to as the survival mode or fight or flight response. When we're in this state, our bodies experience a rush of hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, which prepare us to react quickly to perceived threats. These chemicals can make us feel anxious, fearful, or stressed as our bodies are primed for action. In a way, we become hyper-aware of our surroundings. We may even start to catastrophize or assume the worst in situations. The problem with this default state is that, in modern society, it's too easily triggered. It could be a comment from a colleague, an email you receive at work, or an unexpected change in plans. These aren't life-threatening situations, yet they cause your brain to activate that same survival mode. The problem isn't the situation itself, but rather how our brain perceives it and the emotional response it generates. Over time, this constant cycle of stress and anxiety takes a toll on both your mental and physical health. Our brains are also wired to focus on negative stimuli, which is part of our survival instinct. This is called negativity bias. It means that our brain is more likely to pay attention to threats or negative events than positive ones. Imagine this. If you get 10 compliments and 1 criticism in a day, your brain is likely to dwell on that 1 negative comment and ignore the praise. This natural bias helps us survive, but it also means we can easily spiral into stress and anxiety because we're constantly focusing on potential problems instead of potential solutions. In addition to the negativity bias, our brains also tend to be problem-oriented. This means that when we encounter a stressor, our brains are quick to start problem solving, often in ways that cause more stress. For example, when faced with a tight deadline, your brain might shift into overdrive, thinking about all the potential obstacles and worst-case scenarios. This cycle of rumination makes it harder to focus, and it can fuel the anxiety that comes with the task at hand. In the end, the more we focus on the problem, the bigger and more overwhelming it becomes. Our brains are also extremely habitual. This means that once we've experienced stress or anxiety over a certain trigger, we're likely to experience the same reaction the next time the trigger arises. It's like our brain has set patterns for how to deal with certain situations. These neural pathways become ingrained over time, which makes it harder to break free from the cycle of stress and anxiety. The brain essentially says, this is how we react to this situation, and it defaults to that reaction without any conscious effort from you. This habitual nature of the brain can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, it helps us automate basic functions like driving a car or tying our shoes. But on the other hand, it also means that stress and anxiety can become automatic responses if we're not careful. If you've been constantly stressed out at work for months or even years, your brain becomes conditioned to view work as something that's always stressful. You start to expect anxiety and worry, even when you don't have to. The good news, however, is that you can rewire these neural pathways. The brain has an incredible ability to change through a process called neuroplasticity. This means that by consciously choosing to break the cycle of stress and anxiety, you can begin to recondition your brain to respond differently. You can prime your brain to enter a state of calm, clarity, and control, even in situations that previously triggered fear or anxiety. The first step to rewiring your brain is understanding how it works and how it defaults to stress, anxiety, and fear. Recognizing that these emotions are not permanent states, but rather temporary reactions to perceived threats is the key to overcoming them. By learning to take control of your thoughts, actions, and physiological state, you can reprogram your brain to respond with empowerment, resilience, and confidence instead of fear. It's not about avoiding stress entirely, but about choosing how you handle it when it arises. The beliefs you hold about yourself and the world shape everything you experience in life. They act as a lens through which you interpret your surroundings, your relationships, and even your emotions. Your beliefs have the power to either empower you or disempower you, to help you thrive, or to keep you stuck in cycles of stress and anxiety. The first step in rewiring your brain is to understand that beliefs are not facts. They are simply patterns of thinking that have been reinforced over time. Most of our beliefs are formed in the early stages of life, often without us even realizing it. As children, we are incredibly impressionable, and the things we hear, see, and experience leave an imprint on our subconscious mind. These early beliefs can influence how we perceive the world, how we interact with others, and how we respond to stress and challenges. If, for example, you grew up in an environment where failure was punished or where fear was a constant presence, you may have developed limiting beliefs like, I'm not good enough, or the world is a scary place. As we move through life, these early beliefs become more ingrained, and we begin to identify with them. They become part of our identity. We believe them so deeply that they dictate our actions and reactions. When stress or anxiety arises, the brain automatically resorts to these deep-seated beliefs. If you believe that challenges are insurmountable or that failure will lead to catastrophe, you will be more likely to experience heightened anxiety and stress when faced with obstacles. This cycle continues, reinforcing those disempowering beliefs. But here's the truth. Beliefs are changeable. You are not stuck with the beliefs that you inherited or adopted in childhood. As an adult, you have the ability to choose which beliefs to embrace and which to release. This is where the power of rewiring your brain comes into play. By consciously choosing to adopt empowering beliefs, you begin to reprogram the way your brain reacts to stress, fear, and anxiety. You break free from the automatic responses that no longer serve you. To begin rewiring your brain, the first step is to identify your limiting beliefs. What beliefs do you hold about yourself and the world that are keeping you stuck in fear and anxiety? Do you believe that you're not capable of handling stress, or that everything is always going to go wrong? Take a moment to examine these thoughts. Are they based on objective truth, or are they simply beliefs you've adopted over time? More often than not, these beliefs are not facts. They are just patterns of thinking that you can change. Once you identify these limiting beliefs, the next step is to challenge them. Ask yourself, what evidence do I have that supports this belief? Is there any situation in my life where this belief was proven wrong? For example, if you believe that you'll never be able to handle stress, think back to times when you've successfully managed stressful situations. Have you ever faced a difficult challenge and come out stronger? By looking for evidence that contradicts your limiting beliefs, you begin to create a new perspective, one that is based on possibility, not fear. Now comes the powerful part. Replace your limiting beliefs with empowering ones. This doesn't mean simply pretending that everything is perfect or ignoring the challenges you face. It means choosing beliefs that empower you to take action, overcome obstacles, and stay calm in the face of adversity. Instead of thinking, I can't handle this, replace it with, I am capable of handling whatever comes my way. Instead of, this situation is overwhelming, try, I have the tools to stay calm and find a solution. These empowering beliefs will shift your brain's focus from the problem to the possibility. Affirmations are a powerful tool for reinforcing these new empowering beliefs. By repeating positive affirmations daily, you can begin to rewire your brain to accept these new beliefs as truth. Start each morning by saying to yourself, I am in control of my thoughts and emotions, or I am resilient and capable of overcoming any challenge. By making affirmations a regular practice, you retrain your brain to automatically default to these empowering thoughts instead of the limiting ones. Another powerful way to rewire your brain with empowering beliefs is through visualization. This involves mentally rehearsing positive outcomes and seeing yourself succeeding in stressful situations. Visualization helps to create new neural pathways in the brain, reinforcing the belief that you are capable and resourceful. Take a few minutes each day to close your eyes and vividly imagine yourself handling a challenging situation with calm, confidence, and ease. See yourself staying composed, making wise decisions, and ultimately succeeding. The more you visualize success, the more your brain begins to accept it as possible. Finally, consistency is key. Rewiring your brain with empowering beliefs is not a one-time task. It's a continuous practice. Just as you would work out to build physical strength, you must also exercise your mental muscles by regularly reinforcing these new beliefs. Over time, your brain will shift from a state of fear and anxiety to one of confidence and resilience. The more you focus on what is possible rather than what could go wrong, the more you will prime your brain to respond with strength and clarity in every situation. You are in charge of the beliefs you hold, and with time and practice, you can rewire your brain for success and inner peace. When it comes to stress, anxiety, or fear, it's easy to think of them as emotions that exist purely in your mind, but the truth is, these emotions have a powerful impact on your body. Your physiology, the way your body moves, breathes, and responds to stimuli, plays a huge role in how you feel. In fact, your body and mind are inseparable. When you're anxious or stressed, your body reacts with rapid heartbeats, shallow breathing, tense muscles, and a flood of adrenaline. But the exciting news is that you can reverse this cycle. By changing your physiology, you can instantly change how you feel. The first thing to understand is that your body doesn't distinguish between mental and physical stress. When you're mentally stressed, your body reacts in a similar way as if you were facing physical danger. Your muscles tense up, your breathing becomes shallow, and your heart rate increases. This is your body's natural stress response, which prepares you for fight or flight. However, you can also use the power of your body to reverse this reaction. By changing your body's state, you send signals to your brain that everything is okay, that there's no real danger. This triggers a relaxation response that counters the stress. One of the most powerful ways to shift your physiology is through breathing techniques. When you're anxious, your breath tends to become shallow and rapid, which activates the body's stress response. By deliberately taking deep, slow breaths, you can reverse this. Deep breathing sends a signal to your brain that you're safe, which triggers the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your nervous system responsible for relaxation. The simple act of taking a deep breath and holding it for a few seconds can activate a calm state in your body almost immediately. Another key to shifting your physiology is posture. Think about how you feel when you're slumped over or hunched up. This posture not only makes you look physically smaller, but it also has a direct impact on your mental state. Research shows that poor posture can increase feelings of stress and anxiety, whereas standing tall with your shoulders back signals to your brain that you are strong, confident, and in control. The next time you feel overwhelmed, try standing up straight, lifting your chest, and opening up your body. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but within moments, you'll notice a shift in your energy and confidence. Movement is another powerful tool to reset your body's state. The brain and body are designed to move. When you're feeling tense or stressed, your muscles are likely tight and your energy is stagnant. Physical activity can release pent-up tension, improve circulation, and flood your brain with endorphins, the feel-good chemicals that help counter stress. Even something as simple as a brisk walk, a few minutes of stretching, or dancing around to your favorite music can help you shift your physiology. When you move, you tell your brain that the threat is gone and that it's time to relax. Smile. It's one of the quickest ways to change your physiology. It may seem small, but research shows that the simple act of smiling, whether you feel happy or not, can improve your mood and reduce stress. Smiling activates the release of endorphins and other chemicals in the brain that are associated with feelings of happiness and calm. The next time you're feeling anxious or stressed, try smiling. Even if it feels forced at first, the act of smiling can trick your brain into thinking you're in a positive emotional state, thus helping to alleviate your stress almost instantly. Another important aspect of shifting your physiology is eye contact. It's amazing how something as simple as making direct eye contact can influence how you feel. When we feel anxious or fearful, we often avoid eye contact, which makes us feel disconnected and vulnerable. On the other hand, maintaining eye contact, whether with another person or even in the mirror, can give you a sense of presence and control. Strong eye contact activates the areas of the brain associated with confidence and self-assurance to remind you that you are in control of the situation and can handle anything that comes your way. Breath-phomic meditation is another technique that combines breathing and mindfulness to immediately change your physiology. By focusing on your breath and releasing tension, you can quickly shift from a state of stress to one of calm. One powerful meditation technique is box breathing. To do this, inhale for a count of 4, hold your breath for 4, exhale for 4, and then pause for 4 before repeating. This method helps to slow the heart rate, relax the body, and calm the mind, putting you into a state of balance and peace. Hydration and nutrition also play a key role in your physiological state. When you're dehydrated or low on essential nutrients, your body's more susceptible to stress. Dehydration can lead to headaches, fatigue, and irritability, all of which can make anxiety and stress feel even worse. Keeping your body well hydrated and nourishing it with nutrient-rich food helps maintain your physical and mental equilibrium. Drink a glass of water, eat a snack with healthy fats or protein, and you'll likely feel a noticeable shift in your energy and mood. Finally, one of the most effective ways to change your physiology instantly is through power poses. Wide, expansive, and confident body postures. Research by Amy Cuddy, a social psychologist, shows that adopting power poses can increase feelings of confidence, reduce stress, and even improve your hormonal balance. Stand tall, spread your arms wide, and take up space in a way that makes you feel powerful. Holding a power pose for just a couple of minutes can significantly lower levels of cortisol and raise levels of testosterone, instantly improving how you feel and how you respond to stress. One of the most effective ways to break the cycle of stress, anxiety, or fear is by using a pattern interrupt. Our brains are highly habitual, and once we've been conditioned to react a certain way, whether it's with anxiety when we're under pressure or fear when we face something unknown, we tend to respond in the same way automatically. This is because we've formed strong neural pathways, making these reactions feel almost like second nature. But just because something has become habitual doesn't mean it's permanent. A pattern interrupt is a technique that disrupts this automatic cycle, forcing your brain to reset and giving you the power to respond differently. A pattern interrupt can be any action or behavior that breaks your current emotional or mental state, essentially disrupting the habitual cycle. When you're feeling anxious, stressed, or afraid, your brain has already triggered a series of physical and emotional responses. A pattern interrupt creates a gap between the stimulus, the stressor or trigger, and your automatic response, giving you the opportunity to choose a different reaction. Think of it like pressing the pause button on a stressful situation, allowing you to shift from an automatic negative response to a more empowered one. One of the simplest and most effective pattern interrupts is physical movement. When you're feeling overwhelmed by anxiety or stress, your body is often tense and your energy is trapped. By doing something physical, whether it's jumping up, clapping your hands, shaking your body, or stretching, you disrupt the internal tension and create a physical shift. This physical disruption sends a signal to your brain that it's time to reset, moving you out of a state of stress and into a state of awareness and control. The body and mind are closely linked, and when your body moves, your mind follows. Another effective pattern interrupt is to change your focus. When we're anxious or stressed, our attention is often fixated on the source of our worry. This could be a looming deadline, a difficult conversation, or an uncertain outcome. One of the quickest ways to interrupt this negative pattern is to consciously shift your focus away from the stressor. Try focusing on something neutral or even positive, a favorite memory, a beautiful scene, or something you're grateful for. This shift in attention disrupts the mental cycle of worry, helping you regain control of your mind and your emotions. Breathing techniques are also a powerful tool for creating an instant pattern interrupt. When we're stressed or anxious, our breathing becomes shallow and rapid, which only amplifies the tension in our bodies. By deliberately shifting your breath to something slower and deeper, you interrupt this physiological response. Techniques like box breathing or deep diaphragmatic breathing activate the body's relaxation response, calming both the mind and body. The next time you feel overwhelmed, try taking 3 deep, slow breaths, holding each for a few seconds. This simple change in your breathing pattern is enough to disrupt the stress response and bring you back to a more balanced state. Another form of a pattern interrupt is visualization. When stress and anxiety take hold, our minds often create vivid, worst-case scenarios that can feel overwhelming. A pattern interrupt in this case could involve visualizing a completely different scene, something peaceful, calming, or empowering. Imagine yourself in a place where you feel safe and at ease. or visualize yourself confidently handling the challenge ahead. This change in mental imagery not only interrupts the cycle of negative thinking, but also primes your brain to approach the situation with more calm and clarity. A powerful form of a pattern interrupt involves making a sound or using noise in a strategic way. Sounds, whether it's an abrupt noise, music, or even a chant, can break the pattern of anxious thoughts and reset your brain's emotional state. For example, saying something out loud like, "Stop!" or laughing, even if it's just a forced chuckle, can immediately break the pattern. Laughter, even when initiated intentionally, helps to release endorphins and lower cortisol levels, shifting your body from a stress state to a more relaxed one. The key is to do something unexpected that immediately shifts the energy. Change your environment is another highly effective pattern interrupt. Our surroundings influence how we feel. If you're in a stressful situation, try stepping outside, moving to a different room, or simply changing your posture. Changing your physical space resets your brain's context and breaks the negative cycle. A change in scenery can also help clear your mind, making it easier to return to the situation with a fresh perspective. This is why taking a short walk, going for a breath of fresh air, or simply moving to a different location can be an instant pattern interrupt. Humor and play can also be potent pattern interrupters. Stress and anxiety often thrive in environments where there's little room for lightness or fun. By engaging in something playful or humorous, you disrupt the mental patterns that reinforce negative emotions. Watch a funny video, tell yourself a joke, or do something silly. It doesn't matter how small or insignificant the action may seem. The act of play reminds your brain that not everything has to be taken seriously and that you can handle stress with a sense of humor. The power of a pattern interrupt lies in its ability to shift your energy, redirect your focus, and break the automatic cycle of stress and anxiety, no matter what form it takes. Whether it's physical movement, changing your focus, altering your environment, or using humor, these interruptions act as powerful resets for your brain. They don't erase the challenges you face, but they give you the ability to approach them from a place of clarity and calm instead of fear or panic. By using pattern interrupts, you can take immediate control of your emotional state, allowing you to handle stress and anxiety with a sense of power and confidence. Many of the most powerful tools you can use to stop stress, anxiety, and fear is to reframe the situation. Our minds are wired to interpret experiences based on the meaning we give them, and often, when we feel anxious or fearful, we are interpreting situations in a negative light. Reframing is the practice of changing the meaning you assign to a particular event or experience, transforming it from a source of stress into an opportunity for growth, learning, or empowerment. When you reframe, you shift from a mindset of victimhood to one of empowerment, allowing you to see challenges as stepping stones rather than obstacles. The process of reframing starts with recognizing that your perception is not the truth, it's simply one interpretation of a situation. Often when we're under stress or fear, our brains default to the worst case scenario. This is the catastrophizing thinking that causes us to imagine the worst possible outcome, even when it's highly unlikely. By acknowledging that the way you perceive a situation isn't the only possible interpretation, you open the door to reframing. This allows you to create a more balanced, positive, or growth-oriented perspective, which can drastically reduce feelings of stress or anxiety. The power of language plays a significant role in reframing. The words you use to describe a situation have a profound impact on how you perceive it. For example, consider how the word problem makes you feel. It can trigger feelings of overwhelm, frustration, or helplessness. But if you change the language and think of the same situation as a challenge or an opportunity for growth, it can completely shift your mindset. The act of reframing involves deliberately choosing language that is more empowering and that directs your focus towards solutions instead of problems. One key technique in reframing is to ask yourself powerful, solution-oriented questions. When you're feeling stressed or anxious, instead of focusing on all the reasons why something is impossible or overwhelming, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow through this experience? Or what would it look like if I viewed this situation as an opportunity to become stronger? By framing the situation in terms of growth or possibility, you shift from a victim mentality to a proactive one. This perspective change can reduce feelings of fear and anxiety and help you approach challenges with a sense of curiosity and purpose. Reframing can also be a tool for perspective shifting in difficult or uncomfortable situations. Think about the last time you felt overwhelmed by a situation at work, home, or in a social context. Perhaps you were facing criticism, a challenging conversation, or an unfamiliar task. In such moments, it's easy to feel personally attacked or like you're failing. But if you reframe the experience as feedback rather than criticism, or as a learning opportunity rather than a failure, you change how you approach it. Instead of feeling defensive or defeated, you feel motivated to improve and grow. Sometimes stress and anxiety arise from uncertainty about the future. The unknown can be a breeding ground for fear and worry as our minds imagine every possible negative outcome. Reframing uncertainty means seeing it not as something to fear, but as something that creates possibility. Instead of saying, I don't know what's going to happen and that's terrifying, try reframing it as, I don't know what's going to happen and that means anything is possible. This shift in perspective allows you to embrace the unknown as an exciting space where opportunities are limitless. Gratitude is a powerful tool for reframing. When you're overwhelmed with stress, fear, or anxiety, it's easy to get caught in a spiral of negative thinking, focusing on what's going wrong. Reframing involves intentionally shifting your focus to what's going right, no matter how small. A simple exercise like a gratitude journal can help you reframe your mindset by forcing you to acknowledge the positive aspects of your life, even during difficult times. When you can find something to be grateful for in the midst of a challenge, it transforms your perception of the situation, making it feel more manageable and less threatening. Reframing is also about learning to see failure as a stepping stone rather than a permanent state. Fear of failure is one of the biggest contributors to stress and anxiety. When you fail or make a mistake, it's easy to get caught in self-doubt or shame. However, by reframing failure as a lesson, you create a healthier relationship with mistakes. Instead of fearing failure, you begin to embrace it as part of the process of success. This change in mindset not only reduces anxiety, but also encourages you to take more risks and face challenges with confidence. Context can play a huge role in reframing. Often, when we're caught in the middle of a stressful situation, it can feel as though the world is falling apart. However, if we step back and view the situation within the broader context of our life, we may realize that it's not as significant as it initially seemed. For example, a difficult conversation at work might feel monumental in the moment, but if you zoom out and recognize that it's just one moment in your entire career, you can shift your perspective. Reframing involves seeing the bigger picture and understanding that one difficult situation doesn't define you or your future. Finally, embrace the power of choice when reframing. One of the most liberating aspects of reframing is that you always have a choice in how you view a situation. In every moment, you have the power to choose how you interpret what's happening. This sense of agency gives you control over your emotions and reactions. Instead of feeling like a victim of circumstance, reframing allows you to see yourself as the creator of your experience, where every situation is an opportunity to choose a perspective that empowers you. When it comes to overcoming stress, anxiety, and fear, one of the most impactful tools you can use is focused action. Anxiety and fear thrive in a state of inaction. The more you dwell on a situation without taking any steps forward, the more your mind spins in a loop of worry and uncertainty. The key to breaking this cycle is to interrupt it with focused action. Taking deliberate steps, no matter how small, towards your goal or solution gives you a sense of purpose and control. This simple shift from thinking to doing can instantly alleviate feelings of helplessness and anxiety. Focused action is not just about doing something for the sake of being busy. It's about intentionally directing your energy and attention towards something that moves you forward. Often, when we're overwhelmed, we feel paralyzed by the sheer volume of tasks or problems ahead. This sense of being stuck feeds into anxiety and stress. But when you break your task or challenge into smaller, actionable steps, and focus on completing just one step at a time, you instantly regain a sense of control and direction. The brain is wired to feel more confident and at ease when it has a clear path to follow. Momentum is a key component of focused action. Once you take the first step, no matter how small, you begin to build momentum. This momentum not only propels you forward, but also strengthens your confidence and belief in your ability to handle the situation. It's like pushing a boulder up a hill. The first few inches are the hardest, but once you get it moving, it starts to roll with ease. In the same way, starting with focused action creates a sense of progress that eases stress and brings clarity to what once seemed overwhelming. The key to focused action is to eliminate distractions. Stress and anxiety often grow when your mind is scattered, trying to focus on everything at once. When you're constantly pulled in different directions, it's impossible to gain clarity. By narrowing your focus and eliminating distractions, you create space for effective action. This could mean turning off notifications, setting clear boundaries, or creating an environment where you can concentrate fully. The more you simplify your focus, the easier it becomes to take meaningful action and alleviate stress. Another important aspect of focused action is taking action that is in alignment with your values and priorities. Often, we feel overwhelmed because we are spread thin, trying to meet others' expectations or chase after goals that don't truly matter to us. When you take action that is directly tied to what you care about and what is important in your life, you experience a sense of fulfillment and purpose that cuts through the fog of stress and fear. Identify what really matters to you and direct your energy towards those actions. This focus brings clarity and reduces anxiety as you know you're moving towards something meaningful. Breaking tasks into smaller, manageable steps is a powerful way to take focused action without feeling overwhelmed. When facing a large or daunting task, it's easy to get paralyzed by its complexity. Instead of looking at the whole mountain, break it down into smaller, bite-sized actions. This makes the task feel more achievable and reduces the pressure of trying to do everything at once. For example, if you're anxious about an upcoming presentation, break it down, research the topic, create the outline, draft the slides, and practice delivering it. Each step is a small victory that will give you the momentum to keep going. Commit to starting. This is a critical piece of focused action. Often anxiety is rooted in the fear of starting something new or unknown. The fear of failure or making mistakes can hold us back from taking the first step. But once you commit to starting, you'll find that the rest follows. A simple trick is to focus only on the first 5 minutes. Set a timer, dive into the task, and commit to working on it for just 5 minutes. Often, once you've started, you'll continue far beyond those 5 minutes, and the anxiety about getting started fades. Taking focused action also requires a sense of self-compassion. It's easy to become overwhelmed with stress when we feel like we're not doing enough or not doing things perfectly. But the truth is, taking imperfect action is far more powerful than being paralyzed by the need to get everything right. Allow yourself to make mistakes, knowing that each step you take, whether it's perfect or not, brings you closer to your desired outcome. Being kind to yourself while taking action helps reduce the pressure and allows you to stay grounded even in stressful times. Celebrate your progress along the way. The more you acknowledge and celebrate the small wins, the more motivated and empowered you will feel. Focusing on the positive actions you've already taken helps you break the cycle of stress and anxiety by shifting your attention away from what's not working or what's left to do. Every step you take, no matter how small, is progress. By celebrating these victories, you reinforce your sense of capability, reduce the grip of fear, and motivate yourself to keep moving forward. Finally, trust the process of focused action. There will be moments where things feel uncertain, and progress may not always be as fast as you'd like. But trust that taking action, even in small doses, is always moving you toward a solution. The act of doing releases the pressure of overthinking and opens up new opportunities and insights. When you focus on the next step instead of the entire staircase, you stay calm, clear, and capable. Focused action will help you take control of your situation and replace anxiety and stress with empowerment and progress. One of the most transformative ways to overcome stress, anxiety, and fear is to embrace your inner power. Every single person has an incredible well of strength, resilience, and potential inside them. But too often we forget about our innate abilities, especially when faced with challenges. Instead of relying on external circumstances to dictate how we feel, embracing your inner power means reconnecting with the deep well of strength that already exists within you. It's about remembering that you are not defined by your stress or fear. You have the capacity to transcend them. Your inner power is the part of you that remains calm and composed in the face of adversity. It's the part of you that has overcome challenges in the past, that has survived difficult times, and that has always found a way through. By tapping into this power, you shift from a place of helplessness to one of control and confidence. In times of stress, it's easy to forget your resilience, but taking a moment to remember how much you've already overcome can fuel you with the strength you need to move forward. Self-belief is a fundamental component of embracing your inner power. When you believe in your abilities, you naturally take more empowered actions. The key is understanding that your belief is not rooted in external validation or past successes alone, but in the faith you have in yourself to handle whatever comes your way. Self-belief is like a muscle. You build it through consistent practice. Every time you choose to act in alignment with your values, even when it's difficult, you reinforce your belief in your own capacity. To embrace your inner power, you must also learn to trust yourself. Trusting yourself means having confidence in your decisions, your judgment, and your ability to navigate any challenge that arises. Stress and anxiety often stem from a fear of making the wrong choice or failing, but the truth is, you are capable of handling whatever life throws at you. Trusting yourself is about knowing that no matter what happens, you have the resources and resilience to adapt and learn from the experience. When you trust yourself, fear loses its grip because you know you can handle any outcome. Self-awareness plays a significant role in embracing your inner power. It's essential to know who you are, what you stand for, and what makes you tick. When you understand your values, strengths, and weaknesses, you can approach life with a sense of clarity and purpose. Self-awareness gives you the tools to respond to stress in a way that is authentic to you. It's also about recognizing when you're falling into negative thought patterns or when you're under the influence of fear, so you can shift your mindset before it spirals out of control. Self-compassion is another critical component in embracing your inner power. Many of us are our harshest critics, and in times of stress, we tend to beat ourselves up for not being perfect or not handling things better. However, embracing your inner power means showing yourself kindness, understanding, and grace. Rather than criticizing yourself for feeling anxious or fearful, approach those feelings with curiosity and compassion. When you treat yourself with care, you give yourself the space to grow, learn, and ultimately thrive. Your inner power is also fueled by clarity of purpose. When you know what you stand for and why you're doing what you're doing, it's much easier to face challenges with courage and determination. Stress and fear can cloud our judgment and distract us from what truly matters. But when you have a clear vision of your goals and a sense of purpose, you can use these as anchors to guide you through difficult times. This clarity helps you stay grounded, focused, and connected to your inner power even when external circumstances try to throw you off course. Taking responsibility for your life is a powerful act of embracing your inner power. It means acknowledging that while you can't control everything that happens, you are always in control of how you respond. Instead of feeling like a victim to your circumstances, you recognize that you have the ability to shape your reality through your choices, actions, and mindset. Stress and anxiety often arise when we feel powerless or like things are out of our hands. But when you take responsibility, you reclaim your sense of power and recognize that you are the one who gets to decide how to move forward. Releasing the need for control is a key step in embracing your inner power. Ironically, the more we try to control every aspect of our lives, the more we create stress and anxiety. When you try to control the uncontrollable, you're setting yourself up for frustration. Embracing your inner power means accepting that you can't control everything, but you can control how you react. It's about letting go of the need to control every outcome and instead focusing on the areas where you do have influence. This sense of release brings peace and empowers you to move forward with less fear and greater confidence. Embracing your inner power involves living authentically. When you are true to who you are and live in alignment with your values and passions, you naturally feel more empowered. When you're constantly trying to meet others' expectations or fit into a mold that doesn't suit you, it drains your energy and creates stress. But when you embrace your true self, you tap into an unshakable source of strength. You stop seeking validation from others and start trusting your own voice. This authenticity not only gives you the courage to face fear, but also inspires others to do the same.